What up guys, Odi Edition here. I got something very exciting to share with you guys. Wisefab and I have been working on a front steer angle kit for the S-Chassis. It's something that we actually been working on for quite some time. I competed all of last season, 2022, using a pre-production front steer kit that Wisefab had provided me. I gave them feedback, we fine-tuned it a little bit, and I'm very happy to say that now this kit is available to you guys. There's some really cool features that they packed into this front steer kit, retained some of the awesome features that came in the V2 steering kit. So let's dive in and let me go over some of the really cool key features of this front steer S-Chassis kit. So from the surface, when you unpackage the kit, it looks fairly similar to what your V2 kit looked like. It comes with a rack relocation bracket. It comes with some like spacers and bunks to allow you to jig this inside of your subframe. Of course, you got lower control arm, the steering knuckle itself. What really changed on this kit is some fine tuning and some improvement to help you make it more adjustable. So the caster adjustability is really trick. There's no actual like locking nuts. There's an Allen in there that allows you to adjust caster on the fly without unbolting this piece, without locking and unlocking nuts. Moving right along onto this front knuckle. So obviously, since it's front steer, the outer tie rod pickup point has been moved to the front versus originally it was in the rear. Now you still have a lock stopper that is adjustable, which is really cool because we all run different wheel sizes, we have different driving styles, and you can limit the angle to your preference. Also, the new kit does come with Ackermann adjustability standard. That's something that I think is a must because every track has a slightly different requirement of the front end. Like if you run a bank track, you might want a little bit less Ackermann. If you run a tight track, you just want the car to have as little crab walk as possible, as much grip as possible. You run more Ackermann. So they come with a 0 Ackermann setting, and then on these little washers, as the count of the birdies increases, the overall Ackermann increases as well. On the knuckle, those washers center on pins. There's a pretty big range. We actually went back and forth a little bit on this feature. The pre-production kit had Ackermann adjustability as well. We reset the spectrum of adjustability, meaning that we built in more Ackermann after I was testing it to allow you guys to have the usable range that I think you need in a drift car. So Ackermann is adjustable from basically parallel to more than enough Ackermann than you would need in a pro level car. Apart from the Ackermann adjustability built into the knuckle, you could also tell how much of a difference there is in the pickup position of the outer tie rod versus the ball joint. It drops down quite a bit, and that is there in order to prevent a bunch of bump steer. The bump steer in this kit is absolutely down to minimal. You really feel that while you drive the car because it's very consistent. So at angle as you go over bumps, the steering wheel at some other angle kits, you might feel it's starting to give you feedback, or even to the point where it wants to kind of rip out of your hand. And it's really important to get the bump steer down to minimum in order to prevent those kinds of things from happening and give you confidence that the car is going to respond the same, even though you're going over bumps at angle versus on a nice flat surface. So props to Wisefab for just nailing down those details that make the car just drive that much better. So I bet the question is, what rack do you use? Because you can't just obviously throw the Nissan original rack from the rear of the subframe to the front. So it's actually pretty simple. Use a BMW E46 rack. There's many flavors of those racks. I prefer the green label. It comes out of an E46 M3. There's faster steering ratios if you prefer that. And the rack bolts in very simply. I think it bolts in easier than the Nissan rack into the OEM Nissan subframe, because the BMW racks literally pick up on these two bolts. There's no rack bushings to deal with, and it picks up on the same plane. So super easy to swap them out in a scenario where you crash out. Plus the BMW rack is much stronger, so hopefully you won't be swapping those out. This the kit comes with a steering extended steering joint. This basically and bolts to the E46 rack. This picks up on the Nissan U joint. No need to fumble to modify the steering shaft. This little piece right here, it makes it a straight bolt-in scenario. I know some of this sounds kind of maybe confusing, but Wisefab does provide a step-by-step instruction manual, which is fairly easy to follow, and it's very descriptive. So as long as you pay attention and go step by step, I think it'll be a breeze installing this. Something else I want to point out is obviously when you go to a front sump or a rear sump pan, that you're gonna modify the subframe just a little bit. So on my cars, all I have to do is chop off the pinch weld behind the subframe. You can actually see remnants of where the factory steering mounts used to be. So there's not much cutting here. The back of the cross member still has the original surface. It's not notched or clearance for an oil pan. That's because I run my engines a little bit further back than like the cookie cutter engine mounts that you get from Holley or Siki. But we are working with Siki on an engine mount that resets the engine even further back. That's what I run on my S15. And if you're gonna do that, no big deal. You just gotta notch the subframe a little bit. So this is what it looks like if you notch the subframe for more clearance for the rear sump oil pan. Not a big deal at all, but I know some of you guys run really custom setups, engines that are really far back, so pretty easy to do that. Other than those details, it's really straightforward. The instructions do a phenomenal job of guiding you through the install, and the kit absolutely drives amazing. So we're building this brand new car, and this is a perfect opportunity for me to show you exactly how this kit fits up. So we don't have it quite fully assembled yet. We have Feel 443 coilovers mounted to the Wisefab kit. You could tell the tie rod goes actually under the arm. Don't make the mistake of putting those arms upside down. Here's the E46 rack already mounted to the subframe after the subframe has been modified with the insert that comes with the kit. Obviously, you can see that the joint is missing here, but you can see how well it is positioned. So Wisefab did a phenomenal job of positioning this rack to avoid the engine mount and to also give it a really good angle coming right into the steering shaft. This is an OEM column. This car is designed to run either Pro or Pro Spec, and this kit works either with a factory steering column or if you convert to Woodward or whatever column you run of your choice.